Hello, fellow human being. Welcome to episode 2 of Fastlanes podcast. My God, it's still me. I'm still Yeshua. I'm not going to tell you my full name anymore because my full name is on the first episode. Welcome back. If you're welcome back if you're oh my God, sorry. Welcome back. If you have listened to the first episode of my podcast, I just talked about random shit. And today's episode is going to be dedicated for students. Students from all over the world right now. Okay. So why am I dedicating this to students? Because it's almost the beginning of the school year and this corona thing is fucking up our systems and our education right now. I've heard a rumor that the school year might just be postponed or moved for a year. Nah, lots and lots of students that I know do not agree with that because that is just weird, man. I mean, it's not just weird, but it's how am I gonna say this? It's a drawback to education, and it's not. No, you can't just allow that to happen. I mean, there's a risk involved, but there's always a way around every problem. There's always a solution. Now, if you're a student and you're listening to this, hi. Hello, fellow student. And I want to talk about academic excellence and why it's not equal to intelligence. It's Corona. We're on quarantine. There's a lot of time in each of our hands. And if you're a student and you have been struggling in your academics in your past few years of studying or in your past years of studying, this podcast is for you. Why? Today, I'm going to teach you stronger, how to bounce back stronger in the next school year, if ever there's a school year. I hope there's a school year. I don't want to stop for an entire year. I mean, I want to graduate college, man. Even if I want to be an entrepreneur or whatever, it's still a plus if you've graduated from college. So without further ado, let's dive into this. How are you going to bounce back stronger as a student in the next school year? Simple. It's very simple. Learn every day, whatever you're doing, learn. Just learn anything. It doesn't have to be a certain subject. It doesn't have to be a certain topic in your coming year. It doesn't have to be an advanced study that you're really not interested about. Just learn anything. Why? Because you're going to be exercising your brain. Exercise your brain. It's it's the same as working out but for the brain. If you work out every day, even in small amounts, you just walk or maybe run a certain mile or maybe run for a certain amount of time, just work out and break a sweat. You're going to feel healthier than you were or than you are when you're not working out. The same goes for the brain. Constant learning, new things, new facts, new shit that you don't know about, just constantly listening and listening to things that you really don't know, you're going to retain some of that. You're going to learn some of that, or even learn a new skill. And that just exercises your brain. When you exercise your brain is stronger. Now, when you go back to school and learn some things that none of us is really interested about, unless you're really into things that the school teaches us, which I'm not, when you're gonna learn those things or when you come across those things in school, it's gonna be easier to learn them because your brain is on a mode that it's constantly learning new things. It's your brain is adapting always and always, creating new neural pathways. And when you're constantly learning things, you're just you're as fast as lightning. Like really, you get analogies really really fast. You understand things really really fast, and that's an advantage. So that's number one. Constantly learn things. Either it's a skill, some new facts, new things that you don't know, just anything. Just constantly learn anything. Number two, believe that you can learn anything. That's number two. Believe that you can learn anything because whatever subject you're trying to learn, either it be math, science, or a new language or whatever, if in the beginning of the process of learning that you're gonna tell yourself that's it, this is really gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard, and I'm not gonna be able to do this. Blah 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 blah. If you're gonna feed yourself negative things in the beginning of a learning process, you're not gonna finish that. You're not gonna master anything. You're not gonna learn anything, especially in math. Math is really a struggle for everyone. Probably not for those who are, cognitively talented or cognitively gifted. And that's it. When you try and learn math, whether you're a very bright student or not, you have to first believe, or you have to believe first that you can learn it, that you can do it. And number three, this is the last one. Number one was constantly learn something, new things. Number two is believe that you can learn anything. And number three, be persistent and be consistent. That's it. That's the formula. Whatever you're trying to do, either it be learning or blah blah blah, you're a student, or maybe you're a faculty member, or maybe you finished college and you're working on something, or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're listening to this. This three formulas is really gonna upgrade your life, especially the first and the last one. And also the second one. Yeah, the second one is also important. And so the last one is be persistent and be consistent. Whatever that is, whatever you're trying to learn, whatever you're doing, if you're persistent and consistent with it, you're gonna eventually improve. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, maybe not next month, but think of doing it 365 days every year, no pause. Inevitably, you're gonna improve. Now, this is the formula that I use to get into four universities and get a scholarship in some of them. Now, I'm not boasting. Let me just disclose this. I'm not boasting. I'm just telling you that it works. I'm not a very bright student. I'm not. I'm not one of those students with higher grades and higher GPAs or whatever they call that. I'm just a normal student. I'm even not so normal when I was in high school because I was, one of those students who are just how am I gonna say this? I'm one of those students that really don't give a shit about what teachers would say or any other of my classmates would say, or really don't give a shit about education. I'm just in school because my parents tell me to go to school, and I know that I can achieve. I know that I'm not stupid. I just don't want to do anything tiring or don't want to do anything about my education. So I'm that type of student. And this formula really upgraded my life in just 1 year. I've been a bad student for, I don't know, maybe 9 years. I've been a bad student for 9 years. And in my 10th year of studying, I came across this formula. I applied it, and boom, everything changed. I become the I became the, what do you call this, student council president, which I didn't really want to become the president, but somehow I won. And then I qualified into universities with my bad grades from the past. I also have bad grades now. No one is perfect, but I was consistent and I was persistent, and eventually I got into it. And by the way, the chickens are still here. Maybe you can hear them. They're still here. They're still noisy. And I hate them. If you listen to the first podcast, you're gonna know that there are a lot of chickens around our house, and that's weird. But my neighbors, they take care of chickens because they love cockfighting. Yeah, that's a weird thing to gamble on. That's a weird thing to love, but they really like cockfighting. And I even heard that the chicken food that they feed their chickens are more expensive than the food that they're feeding their children. That's weird, but it's happening. All right, where was I? Yeah, I was on the persistence. and consistency in school. So my tip, let me just give you some tips. If you're a student and you're listening to this, let me just give you some tips in this quarantine. Maybe two tips or three tips. Number one, if you're a student and you're in quarantine, this is your chance to get into a university, especially if you just graduated grade 12 and you don't know where to study. It's your chance to get into a university, either it be private or public. Why? Because number one, some universities now some universities now do not have entrance exams. You just need to apply and show them your grades. And most of the universities needs a GPA, or probably a general average in your grade of 85. That's it, and you're in the university. A lot of scholarships as well work the same. You just need an average of 85. There are no entrance exams or qualifying exams because of the virus. So that's number one. Take advantage of the situation to get into university. Number two is the tip that I have for coming back stronger. And number two is constantly learn something. Constantly learn something new. Use your time to read books that would help you become a better student in managing your time, or maybe managing your classes, managing your grades, managing work, all of that. And tip number three, if you're a student, hmm, live like you're studying. Like, live your life right now in quarantine like you're preparing to be on a giant university. Discipline yourself, because if you cannot discipline yourself during a relaxed time, this is a relaxed time because no one is going out of the house and we have a lot of time in our hands. If you can't discipline yourself in a relaxed time, you can't discipline yourself in a pressured time. There's this quote that I came about. I think it was on Instagram. It says, "Character is revealed when pressure is applied." Character is revealed when pressure is applied. I do not believe that quote, and maybe I'm gonna revise it. I believe that character is not revealed when pressure is applied. What is revealed is discipline. The level of discipline that a human being has is revealed when pressure is applied. So yeah, if you can't discipline yourself on a time that is relaxed like this one, you can never discipline yourself on a time that is pressured. You're gonna break in pressure. And we don't want that. So let's just try and discipline ourselves. I mean, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not that disciplined as well. I'm still growing. But I have this mindset that I know I can be disciplined, and I know that you can too. I mean, we're the same human beings. We have the same brain. We have the same sort of body. So yeah. And then this, I heard a rumor. Like I've said, I heard a rumor that the school year for this year and maybe the next year and the coming years would be postponed for like 3 years, 2 years, or maybe an entire year. That's really, really bad, man. And the solution that they have for that are online classes. I know this is a very sensitive topic for a lot of students out there, this online classes thing, because not everyone, especially in the Philippines, not everyone has internet connection. Not everyone has a phone or a laptop. But if you're a student and you're listening to this, let me just tell you something. If you're against online classes, I hope you know why you're against it. I hope you're not just spilling a lot of rants of the disadvantages of online classes. I hope you know why the government is considering that idea of online classes. They're only considering that because we can't go to school. Now, if you're a student and you don't want the school year to stop, then come on. Just instead of complaining, try and think of a way that we can avoid the online class avoid going to school but still continue the classes. I mean, Cagayan de Oro, Xavier University, they have this program called flexible learning. It's still online classes, but they are considering those students, especially the scholars, that do not have internet connection in their home or maybe gadgets and laptops or whatever. They're considering them. So the solution is modules. They're gonna send them learning modules into their home because it's basically just the same as learning online. And that's their solution. You don't need an internet connection, you don't need gadgets, you just need the module. And the school, the university provides those modules for you. You don't own them, you just borrow them. After you're done, maybe you learned a thing or two, you pass on that module to another student. That would work. And it makes sense as well because it's not that expensive. You really just need to make one module and then multiply that to maybe 10 and then make 10 students borrow it. After they're done, another 10 students would borrow it. So you've now taught 20 people. It makes sense. And you taught 20 people without using the internet. You just made some modules. So yeah, instead of ranting, instead of being this hyperactive student that is very active on social media and you're just opening your mouth about random things going against the ideas of the government, why don't you try and consider the why they thought of it? They only thought of it because we can't go to school. And when you've considered the why don't you try and help the government to give them ideas? I mean, anyone can be heard right now. Anyone can be heard now. It doesn't matter if you're a student, a young kid, or a 30-year-old guy that works in a certain office. You can talk to the world right now. Like literally, the world is in our hands right now. We can speak to it anytime. Just like this podcast, you're listening from wherever you are in the world right now. And that's it. That's the thing that I want to talk about today. You see, coronavirus has affected education in a certain way, and not just education but anything. I mean, sporting events, whatever that is. But there's really always a way around every problem. There's always a solution. I mean, there's this one sporting event, the UFC, like Ultimate Fighting Championship. We all know what that is. Like, mixed martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, whatever. They're still continuing their events. They found a way, they fixed the problem. The only thing that they got rid of is the crowd. But the sport is still alive. They're still making events. They're still getting money from the pay-per-view because they made a way around the problem. Now, if they were able to do it in their business, that's microeconomically, I believe that we can do it macroeconomically. We can do it in the entire world. We can find a way around this problem. Always. We're human beings. We're the smartest things. We're the smartest race. We're the smartest species in this world. And we are made or we are equipped with the right tools to fix anything, to fix any problem. So, yeah, let's remain positive. There's always a way around every problem. And we just have to discipline ourselves and think of everything or every problem that way. Now, again, this episode is dedicated for the students. And if you're a student and you're listening to this, pardon me. I am sorry for the rants. I'm sorry for the things that I've said if I have offended you. But if it makes sense to you, I challenge you to like and share this podcast right now and subscribe to me. Thank you so much for listening to my episode today. Let me just check the time. Oh, I'm almost 20 minutes into talking into this. That's why my throat feels a little bit dry. So yeah, if you're still listening 20 minutes into this and you're a student somewhere, or maybe if you're not a student and you're still listening to this, you human being wherever you are, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Bye bye.